He was an unlucky loser who got stabbed by a girl on his first date. When he opened his eyes, he was reincarnated in Otherworld as a weak goblin, with a power that if he defeats and eats his enemies, he gains their abilities and evolves stronger, ultimately becoming the Goblin King with the strongest army and hundreds of wives. It all starts with a young man stabbed by his date until he dies. Next, we see an old goblin welcoming newborns in a different world among all of them. One seems confused. Turns out it's Kanta, who's reincarnated as a goblin baby named as Gobaru. Next morning, he checks himself. He has already grown into mature goblin. Goblins mature faster than humans. He tests abilities and thinks, I got a second chance to live. I'll make it worth it. He then walks away while his goblin siblings watches him. Fourth day, old goblin tells them, this will be the last time I am feeding you. You'll have to start finding food on your own. They eat the food, after which Gobaru walks out of the cave to see the outside world. As the sun shines, a fellow goblin named Gobkichi joins him, and they watch the birds fly in the sky and see some strange plants. Gobkichi still feels nervous, seeing the outside world. Gobro then introduces himself to him. After that, they team up and walks towards the forest to hunt. They spot a horned rabbit and Gobkichi runs to chase it, while Gobaru lay in ambush and hit the rabbit with a stick. Gobkichi tries to grab the rabbit, thinking he's about to eat it alone. Gobro hits him repeatedly. Then he breaks off the rabbit's horn to use as a weapon. A system shows he's obtained a weapon, and he wonders what it is. Just then, Gobkichi starts drooling, so he let him to eat together with him. Next day, they go hunting again. They kill the rabbit and remove the horn. After that, savor the meat. Gobro gains a new ability called Escape while retaining his past power, Absorption, which lets him acquire abilities from whatever he eats even in this new world. Next day, he chases the rabbit again and skillfully kills it. Gobkichi is impressed by this. He tells Gobkichi, you must also try hunting like me. Later, a female goblin, Gobmi, is excited to know how they hunt horned rabbits and eat them, and Gobro says, really, you want to know? She goes closer to Gobro saying, you are amazing, no goblin has ever killed a horned rabbit. She says, Gobro is cool. When Gobkichi asks, am I cool too? She says, you're average. Gobro tells her to join them on their next hunt. She hugs him in appreciation. Day after, it rains, so they couldn't go hunting. Gobro decides to check what's in the storage. As he enters, he finds things to make weapon, but also finds human women who were captured by goblins for reproduction. However, he doesn't feel cool about it. We get to know that the old goblin who helped him after reincarnation is the elder of the cave. He tells him his ability can make him level up than expected. Seeing he's confused, he asks him to make a signal. Then a system appears. He then tells him, if you reach the highest level, you'll evolve into a stronger goblin. Meanwhile, the old goblin is only in his 20s. He leaves, saying some other goblins will arrive in the cave soon. The day after, Gobmi joins their hunting team with teamwork. The trio knocks down different snakes and later sit to enjoy them. Gobro gains more ability from eating the snakes. He feels the snakes are really strong and asks if he could eat the head. Gobkichi says it's poisonous, but he still eats it. Determined to survive in this new world, one day, out of curiosity, they enter a cave where a swarm of bats attacks them. Gobkichi blocks them with his shield while Gobro cuts them down. With his evil eyes, he freezes them together, making it easier to slay the bats. In the end, they get more meat to feast on and he obtains new abilities, as he eats while other hungry goblins watch them, enjoying the meat. On the night after, the goblins surround Gobru, holding sticks to attack him, but with his search ability activated, he rises from sleeping and beats them down. Sadly, one dies after he's accidentally stabbed with a poisonous weapon. Just then, Gobmi appears, strangling one's neck for trying to kill Goburo. Hunting again, they attack a huge orc. When Gobkichi charges at him, the orc nearly hits him, but Gobmi throws a stone at him while Goburo strikes his leg and he falls. Right there, Gobru ends his life. He gains another set of abilities by eating the orc. Seeing they are satisfied, he brings the meat to the cave for other goblins to eat, and they begin to feast on the meat. As they eat, Gobru feels he's generous in this new world, unlike his past life when he used to be selfish. At night, while he sleeps, the system displays asking if he wants to evolve into a hobgoblin, tired to read. He just picks yes, and he receives this reward. As he wakes up in the morning, he notices some changes in his body. When he checks his reflection, he's shocked to see he looks almost like his past self. Surprisingly, Gobkichi has also evolved, seeing them transformed. Gobmi says, you both look cool now. Old Goblin joins the scene, and he's surprised at how quickly they've ranked up. Gobkichi then tells Gobro he wants to test his strength. He asks, should we go hunting? He answers, no, let's fight. He agrees with a smile. In the woods, the fight begins as the two exchange blows. Gobkichi hits him hard, but Gobro strikes harder. Dodging the next blow, Gobro counters and knocks Gobkichi down. When he asks, "Are you okay?" Gobkichi admits Gobro is way stronger than him, and he helps him up. Then, they notice some strange noise which they later see it comes from where Gobmi is hiding. Next, we see some wolves pursue the horned rabbits and eat up some of them. An orc also appears, and the wolves charge after him as he runs. However, they catch up with him. Seeing that, Gobro says, "Let's test our new strength with these animals." Gobmi shoots arrow at their leader and it hits him. Now they confront them and the fight begins. Gobro has already poisoned Gobmi's arrow, and with the wolf leader down they quickly kill the rest. Leader Wolf tries to attack Gobro while they prepare their first strike. The wolf falls and dies due to the poisoned arrow in him. Eating it up, Gobro gains leadership abilities. They bring the wolf back to the cave for other goblins. Then, Gobro tells them they can hunt animals too, and they bow, asking him to teach them. He agrees to teach them how to hunt and make weapons since they are his comrades. They begin to hail him for his kindness. Gobro now sees he has to be stronger in this new world to lead his fellow goblins. Few days later in the cave, the human women poisoned themselves then. Old Goblin and Gobro burnt their dead bodies. Gobro thinks they killed themselves because they had lost hope of surviving. In next scene, the goblins train under Gobro and Gobkichi's watch. Same time. He recalls how he ate animals to gain new abilities. Just then, some unknown goblins appear, and as he prepares to attack, Old Goblin stops him, saying they are the fathers of your generation. Meanwhile, they return with plenty of food and human women from their hunting journey. Naturally, goblins have strong DNA. If they mate with women, they birth goblin children. Gobro isn't cool with this, so he says, "I will look after the women." This angers Old Goblin leader, and cause their followers to want to fight themselves. Two old goblin ladies joins them, and one says, "Let this not cause war among us." Gobro asks who they are, and he's told that the purple-haired lady is Sato and the other is Hobse. Sato then suggests he and old leader fight, and whoever wins becomes new village leader. They agree to this, and in no time, Gobro knocks him down, wrapping him in strings. He asks what the string is, and Gobro replies, "My body produces it, and I gain the ability from a demon spider." Sato comments, "Wow, what an impressive ability." When Gobro declares himself as the new village leader, no one disagrees. Later, while with the women, Gobro promises to protect them, and assures them they will be taken back to their village someday. Red-haired woman asks, "Why are you kind to us?" He replies, "I want your human knowledge." A flashback shows that old goblins captured the women while on a business trip, and killed their men. But now Gobro's kindness melts the women's hearts, and they cry. Then, Gobro leaves without saying anything more. Next morning, when Gobro brings food for the women, he sees that they are feeling much better. As he watches them eat happily, he thinks they will be of great use to them since they have different skills. One is a smith, the twin are cooks, while the red-haired one is a new warrior, the one in glasses is an alchemist. Up next, while they train, old goblins complain he's too hard on them, yet they are being beaten and forced to obey his orders one rainy day. Gobro and Gobkichi are having a serious sparring while other goblins watch. After that, while everyone sleeps, Gobro overhears the old goblins and their leader heading to the women's cave, planning to mate with the women. Unexpectedly, Gobro attacks them from behind, wrapping them in a string. Their shout wakes the women up then. Gobro says, "Didn't I warn you not to come near the women?" Old leader yells, "Do you know how sweet human women are?" Gobro kicks him, walks close to the women and says, "Sorry, we scared you," red-haired cries, and lays her head on his chest. That night, the goblins gather to watch how the men will be punished for disobeying. After receiving a serious beating, their leader is tied upside down. Then Gobro asks them, "Do you all get the new rules now?" They nod yes. Next morning, old leader dies from the punishment. Following that, they go hunting and shoots an arrow at a three-horned horse, but his strong scale blocks it. While he runs, Gobro ties him up with his string and then strikes. After killing him, his system shows that he's gained the horse's power, called triple thrust. They're amazed by the horse's power that night. As he sleeps, Gobro opens his eyes and sees red-haired lady staring at him. He places her on his bed, and assumes she's scared to sleep alone, so they spent the night together. The next morning, he wakes up shocked to find Gobmi also sleeping on his other hand. Days later, they're shocked to see Gobmi has also evolved into a hobgoblin. Gobmi as the archer's captain, Gobro then appoints Gobkichi as the fighter's captain. Sato leads the armored fighters, and Hobse, the magic force, though for now, she's the only mage. With that done, Gobro travels deeper into the woods to hunt more animals. His first prey is a tri-horn horse. Seeing it, he decides to use magic to hunt him down. However, he fails and assumes it's because it's his first time using magic. He goes deeper into the woods, and after a long walk he finds blood along a path. As he follows it, he remembers old Goblin once told them not to go too deep into the forest as dangerous red bears lived there, and it's exactly what Gobro now finds. In the process, a big red bear appears from afar, roaring at him, but Gobro stands firm, unafraid, already thinking of a plan to fight and eat him up. While at it, Gobro decides to use magic first. He rushes towards him and attack. Back in the cave, Gobmi notices Gobro hasn't been around all day. When she asks others about his whereabouts, they say they haven't seen him either. Sato says he's strong, so he will be fine. Meanwhile, he's been fighting with the red bear. He sees that the bear blocks his attack earlier with his right arm. He charges and stabs the bear with his spear. Blood gushes out, but it does not affect him. The bear then pushes him back. He attacks again by wrapping up the bear in his string, but he uses his power to break free and breathe out a huge fireball from his mouth. The fire burns as the bear walks through it. Gobro is amazed because he's never seen a fire-breathing bear before, not even in his past life. He realizes he must take some damage to defeat it, so he stands and charges straight at the bear. The bear breathes more fire, but Gobro pushes through the flames and counters with water magic. When he gets close, he forces his spear into the bear's mouth, but it breaks as the bear suddenly strikes his back and flings him far into the forest. Thick blood drips as his hand gets broken, while half his spear blade remains in the bear's mouth, so he can't breathe fire again. Though unsure of what to do next, he grips his broken spear and charges at the bear, then jumps into the air, stabbing the bear from behind before landing with a smile. Still standing strong, the bear roars in anger. Gobro charges towards him again, unafraid, as he strikes intensely. Blood flies in the air. The next morning, still in the woods, Gobro is seen holding the bear's arm. He eats it up. Meanwhile, his blade is still in the bear's head from the last attack. He gains the bear's overpowering strength and faints. Seconds later, his system shows he's met all conditions, and can now evolve into a rare ogre, and he unconsciously selects yes. Following day, he eats up the bear's head and gains his ability as he tries to cut out his skin. He feels the knife look smaller, seeing his reflection on the knife. He sees he's transformed into an ogre when he returns to the goblins. They don't know it's him, so they say, "Let's run before he attacks us." Then, Gobmi comes and says, "Is that not Gobro?" He answers, "Yes." She kicks his butts and her leg hurt. After, she asks, "How do you lost your left arm?" After narrating, they can't believe he defeated a dangerous animal like Red Bear. He kneels as everyone asks him questions. Afterwards, he says, "I'm happy I managed to survive and return to you, my new family." Meanwhile, his sudden transformation still surprises them. Afterwards, Gobmi and Red-Haired keep following him. When he enters the women's cave, his new look scares them, and he has to show them he's still Gobro. For unknown reason, Gobmi keeps pinching his leg. Seeing his damaged spear, Smith Woman promises to repair it and tells him she made a knife. He pats her head, saying, "I appreciate your effort." As he does that, Red-Haired and Gobmi pinch him harder. Clearly they're jealous. Then, the twins complain that it's hard cooking alone, so Gobro says 3 lady goblins will join them. Impressed by their quick adaptation, he adds, "You two would make good wives," making them blush. Overwhelmed with jealousy, Red-Haired hits Gobro with a stick. Later, he visits the alchemist and sees a poison potion. She reveals she made it for protection, as she intends to poison the goblins. But Gobro's kindness makes her reconsider. Unexpectedly, he carries her up saying she did well, and she blushes, while Red-Haired and Gobmi burn with jealousy. Sensing their cold glares, Gobro carries them up too, with Gobmi clinging to his head. Next day, training couldn't go as usual. As the other goblins grow exhausted competing with his new strength, he energizes some with his magic. As Gobkichi leaves, Gobro worries if he's fine. Afterwards, Gobmi and Sato go hunting while Red-Haired focuses on personal training. Hobse mines for Spirit Stone, while Gobro makes new clothes with one hand, impressing Hobse as she reads nearby. Seeing he still worries about Gobkichi, she assures him he'll be fine. He agrees. Another morning after training, while Gobro is eating, a boy runs in carrying a fainted carbuncle with him. However, Gobro heals her with magic as the boy explains, "I found her while digging through the walls." After a while, she wakes up wondering and asks, "Where am I?" After explaining what happened to her, she thanks Gobro for healing her, and reveals she was attacked by adventurers. The gem on the carbuncle's head is valuable, so Gobro feels she's attacked because of that. When she begs him to protect her from the adventurers, they are surprised. Meanwhile, the carbuncle is artificially created by a dead legendary mage to guide his treasury. The adventurer's attack has drained her energy, and she's close to death, but she refuses to let the adventurers take her master's treasures, since he disliked them. When she says, "I will give you all my master's treasures," Gobro says let everyone gather. He asks Smithwoman for the knife she made, and she gives him. He instructs them to only chase the adventurers away. Then he leaves through a hole Hobbs made by knocking down a wall. He goes alone to reason with the adventurers first, and they are surprised to see him saying, "What's this strange being doing here?" An adventurer sneaks up to attack, but Gobro blocks him and asks, "Why are you trying to rob this place?" The adventurers are shocked, as he adds, "You are lucky I'm nice enough to want to reason with you." This angers them, and they launch their attack. Gobro dodges calmly, saying, "If you stop now, I'll spare you." He finds their attacks too simple for real adventurers. Just then, he's attacked by magic from their mage. While they think he's defeated, the magic fades away from him so quickly. Gobro counters with his own magic and signals Gobkichi and the others hiding nearby to join the fight. Then Gobro gains their assassin, wizard and priest abilities after defeating them. He eats their gear to gain more abilities, takes the mage's magic ring, and then recovers their magic box. Afterwards, Carbuncle takes them to her dead master. Then she says, "My master is skilled in communicating with the spirits while he's alive, so you can get lots of spirit stones from there." She flies into his palm and says, "I'm out of time now." Then she vanishes into the air, leaving her gem with Gobro, who swallows it and gains her ability as they watch. Hobbs looks worried, so Gobkichi asks if she's fine. She smiles and answers yes. After a moment of silence for Carbuncle, they split everything they collected and put it into the magic box. Gobro doesn't feel cool seeing the master sitting there dead, so he cremated him. His armor fell off and Gobro put it on his broken arm. Just then, the armor fastens itself on his arm and he gains its ability, as it can rotate and produce poison and sting. Gobro comments this works just like a natural arm. Afterwards, Gobro says this calls for celebration, and they feast on drinks and food. Next day, Gobro takes the treasures to the Smithwoman. Gobro also gains an ancient spear and a bay from the treasure. Then he gives some hobgoblins weapons from the treasury. At noon, they gathered ingredients to make a stew meal. Now, hunting becomes easier as the goblins improve in skills, after which they eat the stew meal. Next, as the hobgoblins train, Gobro decides to go to the woods to kill more animal for new abilities. His first prey is a golden spider. He removes its shell, eats the meat, and gains its gold thread ability. After, a red deer attacks him and he finishes him up in no time. As he continues to wander in the woods, he sees a big shining tree where some female creatures called dryads live. They seduce males of an intelligent race and eat them up for nutrients, according to what old Goblin once told him. As he thinks about this, one dryad comes right in front of him, trying to seduce him, but Gobro tries to be strong. She kisses him, but Gobro never reacts. Unlike his past life, he's been a virgin all this time in this present world. Unfortunately, he couldn't resist for long, and he gave in to her desire, and for many hours they satisfy their sexual desire, which also grant him her ability. The Dryas enjoys their time together and asks him to come visit her again. After a short walk, he sees a lake with a waterfall. Suddenly, he's surrounded by lizardmen, but takes them down and gains their ability. His strength is now incredible. The next day, 2 goblins with magic ability are brought to Hobbs, and she's happy to finally have students. Meanwhile, Gobro goes to work with the Smithwoman. Gobmi greets him coldly, which worries him. He asks others what's wrong with her, but they don't know. When he asks red-haired, she just runs away. Making Gobro suspicious of her, the twins offer him some recipes to try. He then goes to the alchemist after realizing it's poisoned. She reveals they poisoned him because he met another woman outside the village. He wonders how they know. Remembering the dryad put a kiss mark on his neck, he asks for what is next to do, and the alchemist whispers into his ears saying, "That's how I feel." While she puts her hand on his chest and wanting a kiss from him, Gobmi enters and gets furious seeing them together. She gets close and says, "I want you too." The human women also come demanding his affection. They say, "We all feel the same way about you," and what happens next. They have an incredibly pleasurable night. While at it, Gobkichi sees that he uses the golden thread to create a private room with soundproofing. In the morning, some creatures approach the cave. Gobro hears their footsteps and assesses their strength with his search ability. Then he walks out of the cave to meet them. Turns out they are noble elves. Their leader arrogantly says, "Why keep us waiting this long?" Gobro feels they are going to cause them trouble. Meanwhile, they come to ask for help to protect them against humans, and their leader says, "We'll pay you what you're worth," even though it's a good offer. Gobro rejects it, saying he sounds too arrogant. This annoys their leader, and he prepares to attack. But Gobro uses his evil eyes to strike them, and he holds the leader's neck, warning him to order his hidden archers not to attack. After he has ordered them to lower their weapons, Gobro agrees to protect the forest, saying he won't let humans ruin the forest he lives in. Then, as he stabs his ancient spear on the ground, hundreds of spears are produced at the same time. Seeing that, the elf soldiers retreat, and old Goblin feels bad. He scares them away after such a great offer. After that, Gobro hunts a gray slime, eats its core, and gains its replication ability. He tries it out with his blood, and he creates something that he can communicate with. Realizing this, he asks Gobmi and other ladies to wear clothes with his blood lining to serve as a transmitter in case of an emergency. Next day, the elves come back again and Gobro attacks them, wrapping them up with strings. After capturing them, Gobro questions their leader why they come back, and he says, "You were rude to me the other day, and I feel you deserve to die." Then he says, "I will kill you first, and the rest will have to fight the goblins to survive." At the end, out of 23 elves that fought, 6 men are defeated. After eating them and gaining their abilities, he orders the survivors to surrender their weapons and magic items, declaring them prisoners. Old Goblin joins them, saying, "Wow, the elf babes are so pretty, and tonight gonna be fun." Gobro warns him not to touch them, and he agrees, saying, "You're the boss here." The elf ladies are afraid as Gobro executes them. Then we see Gobkichi fighting a beast alone in the woods. After taking it down, he levels up to 100, and when he returns to the cave, he has transformed into a special wrestler-like variant. Gobro is impressed by how much he's ranked up. His skin has different colors as a result of a blessing from the demigod of flame and war. Then he says, "I will want to fight you, Gobro." He agrees, saying, "Let's do it on the battlefield." Gobchi is having the upper hand, but Gobkichi refuses to back down. As he charges at him again, Gobro knocks him down with a blow, and so he wins. Despite that, Gobchi admits Gobkichi is his rival, as he feels so exhausted that night because of the fight. Next morning, Gobro wakes up in his room with Gobmi and Red-haired beside him. Next, Hobsei drags him out to see 4 hobgoblins that have evolved. Alchemist reports that one has the ability of a cleric. He introduces himself and promises Gobro to heal as many people as possible. Then, he reveals that he was born on the same day as Gobro. Meanwhile, that morning, Hobsei also evolved and grew into a half-spell lord, and she has some markings on her body just like the ones on Gobro's body. Then she asks him to come watch her display of power. She uses spells to produce many fireballs and throws them into the forest, setting it on fire. She boasts that she can cast the spell again 5 times. Gobro says this is impressive. He feels she's likely to evolve all into a spell lord next time, so he gifts her some new equipment. Impressed, Sato says she wants to evolve soon. Hobsei assures her she will, while Gobro thinks the frequent evolution is due to their training, as the environment in the life of a goblin has a major effect on their growth rate. Following that, Gobro and Gobkichi return from hunting with a big animal. Then they meet old goblins, leaving the village, saying they aren't treated fairly. Gobro waves them goodbye, and they are surprised he didn't stop them. He says, "I have no reason to stop you." He then gifts them a magic knife, and they leave. Few days later, in the woods, an orc who killed a human, he encountered Gobro and he get rid of him too. That night, the alchemist gives him a potion to boost his energy. After drinking it, he thanks her. Next, he tells the goblins that the old generation goblins had left the village and asks if anyone else wants to leave. There is silence. Then he assumes everyone wants to stay, and they have a toast to that. Day after, he works on making earrings with his blood in them to act as communication devices. When Gobmi tested it, and it works, so Sato tries it too. Next day, Hobsei takes down a tri-horned horse while hunting. Gobro decides to use the monster taming ability he's got from the orc. The horse is tamed and becomes a pet. Next, they meet gray wolves. One is taken to the human women in the cave, and it becomes their bodyguard. Up next, the red-haired fights a tamed kobold, and she defeated him. Gobro is impressed. She then trains continually by fighting kobolds. Afterwards, she sits with Gobro as he eats, and he offers her a bite. In the process, Red-haired senses an animal nearby, a red deer running through the woods. As he flies, Red-haired catches up and returns to Gobro, boasting she can now hunt in the air. Then, Cleric reports that humans have attacked some goblins as war with the elves nears. Early the next day, humans chase kobolds through the woods. Gobro tries to use his search ability to find them, but fails. The kobolds run into the goblins' cave, and behind them are magic skeletons. He orders Gobmi and others to shoot, but it's not working. Gobkichi feels things might get bad, while Gobro senses there's a huge signal behind the skeletons. Gobkichi and other goblins attack them, but using weapons isn't working. Gobro realizes realizes this and asks them to smash them with their bare hands. It works, and they keep smashing the skeletons, but the skeletons keep increasing. Gobro takes over, using his ancient spear to get rid of them at once. Then he meets the one producing them from behind. He smashes him and eats him up as usual, till he gains all his abilities. Then some kobolds reveal that this happens because the kobolds accidentally dig into the Carbuncle Master's treasury, awakening its guardian, which is a skeleton. They run into the cave for safety after. Gobro says, "Do you know we've hunted many kobolds before?" They reply, "That's not important. Just protect us." Gobro agrees to take them in, and now he has different races in his kingdom. Day after, Gobro goes hunting with Gobkichi. Then they see 12 armed human soldiers, and go after them. They discover their hideout and overhear their plot to kidnap the elf chief's daughter on her way back from a festival with help from an informant among the elves. After sunset, the chief's pretty princess rides back in a carriage with her guards when the soldiers suddenly start to shoot at them. Many of her guards died, and a soldier covers her mouth to silence her. Then, Gobro decides to help her. He uses his string to wrap them up, and carries the elf princess while Gobkichi carries the bound human soldiers. Back in the cave, the captured soldiers are forced to reveal their plan to make their moves in a few days. Soon, the princess wakes, and when she sees him, she screams out of fear. She has beautiful wings. When she asks, "Where am I?" Gobro couldn't respond at first. After she calms down, he explains everything that happened. She then asks, "But why didn't you save others?" and begins to beat his chest. He stops her and says, "The fight between elves and humans isn't my business." She feels sad. Then he tells her there's an informant among the elves she needs to deal with. Hearing this, she begins to cry, making him feel pity for her. He promises to take her home the next day. That night, Old Goblin asks Gobro, "Can I spend the night with the chief's daughter?" He replies, "No." Next morning, while taking her back to her village, she reveals only high-ranked elves have wings and usually hide them inside their body. She adds, "We're not supposed to show others, but mine popped out on its own because I'm still new to it." When they arrive at the village, Gobro assesses the abilities of archers surrounding them, but the princess says, "Don't harm them, they saved my life." As they enter the palace, she rushes to her dad. The chief thanks them for saving her. Gobro replies, "I didn't save the princess out of goodwill. I want a reward." Meanwhile, he wants to see how much the chief truly values her. The chief gives him a bow of an ancient god, saying having his daughter back is worth more than anything. Gobro then reveals that he has other information. The chief asks what it is, and Gobro reveals he knows the humans' battle plan. The chief shakes his hand, making them allies. Following that, Gobro acts shocked when chief reveals some of their elite fighters are missing for days. Then he lies that he knows nothing about it. Before they leave, the chief gifts them medicines and fine drinks. Impressed, Gobro says, "Call me anytime for help." Back at the cave, they enjoy the drinks together. Next morning, Gobro tries to wake Gombi, and he sees she has ranked up into a Dampier variant during the night. And not just her, there are also 8 other new hobgoblins. Gombi, blessed by the god of ice, gains the ability to create ice and use an evil eye which can charm enemies to fight themselves. Gobro thinks her attractive look feels strangely familiar. Then they see Gob has evolved into a half-earth lord with the ability to control the ground. Sato has also evolved into a half-bloody lord with the power to control blood and make it into weapons. Gobro looks confused seeing the tattoos on their body is similar to his. The old goblin says, "Now that you've all evolved again, you need new names," and he gives them new ones including Gobro and Gobkichi. Now, in the kingdom, the elves and kobolds are the weakest. Afterwards, the communicator earrings Gobro made are given to the elves, but they say it's a taboo for them to decorate their ears, but Gobro makes them wear it. They join their training, and later that night, they have practical combat sparring in which Gobro uses his summon lower undead ability to create armored skeleton, and the people spar with them, even the elves who have magical weapons effective against undead lost to them. Now, he can create regular skeletons, zombies and others with less mana. He wishes he can eat them, but they are ghosts and they can only use them at night as sunlight can dissolve them. Gobro now trains the elves and kobolds to grow stronger. With over 100 members in his village, he feels everyone needs to work hard to get stronger. The next day, they visit the kobolds' cave. After taking all their belongings, Gob destroys the cave, so no skeleton will appear there again. Afterward, the kobolds hunt together. They also encounter a stamp boar, said to be as hard as stone. Gob goes after him and strike him down with just one blow. His blood burst on others. Following that, the weapon Gobro used to kill the red bear is upgraded by Smithwoman, and that impressed Gobro. One day in the woods, Gobkichi nervously tells Gobro, "I have something to say, but don't laugh. The truth is, I've always had a crush on Hobsei." and since she evolves and got prettier, I can't hold back anymore. He adds, but I don't know what to say to her. Please help. Gobro then says, confess your feelings to her tonight. He grows nervous, but Gobro reassures him. You'll be fine, man. That night, in the woods, Gobkichi and Hobsei are seen together. Then he says to her, I want us to be happy together. Then she says something. Next day, Gobkichi kicks Gobro so hard that he feels it. Then he says, I'm really happy today, Gobro, and it's all thanks to you. Meanwhile, Gobro knows his confession went well. He and Gobmi notice their feelings for each other, so they help them get closer. Gob looks excited, while Gobkichi is so energetic that Gobro lets him train with a skeleton instead. After training, they all go hunting insect monsters. They collect armored parts from them, while Gobro gains an exoskeleton ability, which he tries out and transforms into a superhero-like outfit that cannot be destroyed. Suddenly he transforms into his usual self again. Gobro likes the superhero outfit. It is made from red bear skin. The system shows he can switch to 2 more forms, so he chooses the ability to fly first. Gobkichi and Gobmi are amazed as he flies into the air, though he quickly realizes he needs more practice and falls. Back in the cave, they enjoy some boar meat. Next day, it rains, so they spend their day in the cave. The red-haired asks Gobro to spar with her as her skills have improved recently. Like a puppy growing into a grown dog, they spar. Afterward, he visits the smith woman, who has been talking with the elves about new weapon ideas. And they have been working together to develop weapons like repeating crossbow, and it has been working out well. So Gobro provides her with materials to make more weapons, and she's always excited to work. He also visits the twin chefs and he asks them to try to recreate dishes from their past life. After he meets the alchemist to produce magical items. Using black skeleton bones, she creates a weapon that can freeze anyone it strikes. It's her first creation, and she gives it to him, asking him to take care of it. Seeing this, Gobmi and the other ladies become jealous. Next morning, some elves visit the cave but can't recognize their old comrades because of the earrings. They report that humans have invaded the woods, with a force too large to stop alone, so they come to ask for help. When Gobro asks about their old comrades, she replies, let's just assume they're dead. She continues, our chief will pay your worth if you eliminate the enemies. Gobro accepts the offer immediately. He gives her a bracelet, saying he can communicate with us. With this they leave. Meanwhile, Gobro sent his creation to assess the wood already. He calls everyone together and says, now we can put all our training and weapons to use as professional fighters. Sato asks, so what shall we be called? He answers Parabellum. The people cheer up as they prepare for the battle. Next, the Parabellum heads out for battle against the humans, riding on all the animals Gobro had tamed. After promising the elves he'll protect them. This is Parabellum's first mission with 36 members, Hobsei as their mage, Gob, Sato, and Gobkichi among them. The elves also joined the fight. They had to leave so early, following the information that the spies he sent to the woods gave. Just then, they encounter a magical barrier. Hosbei says they have to bring it down, so Gobro orders everyone to surround the barrier and then uses his silver arm to take it down. As the barrier breaks, Gob uses her earth control ability to erupt a new barrier from underground, so the soldiers can't escape. Then Hobsei and Gobro team up, raining magic attacks while Gobro summons skeletons that throw spears to clear out the soldiers on the front lines. However, that wasn't enough to defeat the soldiers. Their commander, a lady knight, appears. Seeing her, Gobro decides to make her feel his presence. He roars like a red bear, and she immediately notices him, saying that Ogre must be their commander. Let's strike him down at once. As they charge towards him, their mage casts his spell to boost her speed. Gobro notices she can read battle well and has strong mana. She aims straight for his heart, but he quickly raises a magical shield that blocks her, making her fall back into her ally's arms. Still, she boasts that she will defeat him. Gobro says, I admire your confidence and beauty, she replies. Then fight me with all your strength. If you win, do with me as you wish. Seeing the power of the sorcerer, priestess, and flaming swordswoman, Gobro orders his comrades to keep them alive. The battle begins with Gobkichi using his heavy axe to knock down the human soldiers with ease, while others stab each other. Bewitched by Gobmi's evil eyes, their blood rises into the air, forming weapons by Sato's power. Sato in action, killing the remaining soldiers. Meanwhile, the Lady Knight tries to pierce her sword into Gobro's heart, using a spell and summoning the flame dragon. Hobsei worries he might not be able to withstand a direct hit with such a strong spell, especially seeing that Lady Knight is willing to die to ensure he's hit with it. Her mage, holding on too long, gets tired and releases the spell, letting Gobro wins her over. He says, I won't kill you. Then he counters the flame dragon using 3 strong shields, one of magic, one of wind, and one of water to block the dragon's attack. It was hard, but he manages to stop it, and so the battle ends in their victory, without losing anyone. Lady Knight can't believe she lost to Gobro. Meanwhile, he spares her and a few others, planning to make them work for him, while also absorbing all their abilities. Back to the cave, Chief Elf comes immediately to celebrate the victory with them. He appreciates their effort in getting rid of human army, and that impresses Gobro. Afterwards, he checks on Lady Knight and her ally in prison. Then he makes advances at them, which Lady Knight strongly objects to, but he insists and had fun with them that night. After that, he makes them wear his transmitter earring, and they reveal all the secret information about human army. He recalls that Chief Elf told him to share anything the captive soldiers tell him, so they can also join the fight, and promised him extra drinks as reward. Knowing Gobro can't resist, so he shares the information through the communicator, telling him he finds the humans' route, so they'll ambush them. Since the human soldiers are large in number, they invaded the woods from many directions. Hearing this, impresses Elf Chief. Next day, they move ahead of the soldiers' path, set many traps, and hide in trench. Soon, they see the soldiers in steel armor, marching in order with about 100 wizards. Gobro signals, and his comrades launch their attack first by cutting down trees and rolling down big stones to kill some of the soldiers, reducing their numbers. Next, Goblin signals the archers to fire them, while some soldiers fall into pits surrounded by goblins. However, their commander orders the survivors to form a wall around them with the big stones and make a cover for him to block the parabellum attacks. Gobro, seeing this, changes plans and orders Gobkichi to capture the commander. The soldiers fire at him, but he blocks their shots with his shield. Then he confronts the commander, and they begin to fight. The commander, being a great fighter, skillfully launches his strike on Gobkichi, and that amazes Gobro. After a while, Gobkichi reports to Gobro that the mission is complete. They share a high five, and as usual, Gobro absorbs their abilities. Seeing the commander, Gobro commends his effort, wanting attention too. Gobmi says the fight really got me tired. Then she adds, I want to have your baby. Back in the cave, the captives wonders why Gobro keeps them alive. Commander responds, isn't it good that they spare us and even give us food? Afterwards, Gobro asks the commander why humans are attacking the elves' land. Then he explains that the first princess of the human king has a rare disease, but is also betrothed to the future emperor of a neighboring empire. So, the king ordered them to find a cure soon. They find out the secret elvish medicine, made with the blessing of the forest's demigod, and humans agreed to have it brought about the war. Elsewhere in the cave, Gob hits a rock and water starts gushing out. Everyone panics and Gobro appears asking what's wrong. To their surprise, Gobro turns it into a bathe, saying it can boost healing ability and improve their skin. He adds, we will call it our baths. He installs a regulating device as everyone bathe in and enjoys the warmth and comfort. The ladies bathe one another while Gobro praises Gob, saying you dig up something so amazing. Next day, he begins new training, using the human prisoners to help his comrades develop leadership skills, while Gobmi and Hobse gives orders to them. In the process, Gobmi and Hobse did well while Gobkichi and Sato didn't. After that, Commander trains by fighting a skeleton and easily defeats it. Then he says to Gobro, I'm tired of hitting bones. Can I fight you instead? He admires his courage, then he casts a spell on him so he won't smash him as they fight. As Commander charges at Gobro, he punches him twice and he lands on the rock. Then he steps on him, making him lost conscious. Then, he revives him with magic while Gobkichi proposes to fight him too, and they did. The ladies comment, Commander is a great fighter. Following that, while having dinner, Commander tells Gobro he feels comfortable talking with him even though he's not human. He adds, your people are so amazing. You did great by bringing humans, demi-humans and beastmen to live together peacefully. Then says, I want to work for you now. Gobro thinks, I can't turn down someone this determined. He snaps his finger and his neckband falls off. Now he's dressed as a knight, and Gobro makes red-haired his trainee. In the next scene, the chief elf come for the captives. Gobro says they are not improving in training. Then he asks him to tell him more about their medicine. He says, it's the medicine I once gave you that can cure any illness. He brings it out. The elf chief says it's a taboo for us to give it to human. As Gobro drinks it, his system shows he's gained the blood of panaceas to test it. He cuts his finger and lets a drop fall into a captive's mouth and he's healed. Gobro himself is surprised by what a drop of his blood can do, making him asks himself, have I powered up into some crazy being? Few days after, the human army gather again for war. Suddenly from afar, an arrow strikes their commander, which shocks the soldiers. Spears begins to burst from the ground and starts slaying them down. Then we see the Parabellum are behind this. Gobro stretches his hand, releasing a thick purple substance that covers the dead soldiers, and that ends the battle. The following day, Gobro, red-haired, and Lady Night visit the chief elf in the palace. The ladies look worried, but Gobro tells them not to, assuring them the chief is a nice person. Then he appears, saying sorry for the delay. They are served delicious food to appreciate their effort. While Gobro enjoys the food, the chief says, I want to send our best fighters into the next battle, so we can make peace and end this war. After they had talked about it, on their way back to the cave, Lady Night makes a request, saying, you know I am serving you now. If I may ask, can you send the elvish medicine to my kingdom to heal the princess? Gobro couldn't respond, knowing in his world, the 5 great gods don't get along. The god who blessed him is different from the god who provides the medicine, and he feels that may land him in trouble. But suddenly he stops and says, I'll make it work out somehow. Following that, the human soldiers gather again with strong security. This time, the elf fighters also join the Parabellum. But before then, Gobro's replicant overhears that humans braves will join the fight. Then Lady Night reveals they are 8 ultimate heroic warriors, blessed by the gods. Each of them is strong, and can also empower those who fight at their side. Gobro finds this interesting, saying, I can't wait to taste them on the battlefield. As he summons skeletons, Gobmy worries the Skek. Lettons might melt when the sun rises, but he says don't worry, just deal with the enemies around us while I go with the skeletons to fight the soldiers in the center. They charge into the camp, and the soldiers panic when they see them. The fight begins until dawn, when the sunlight appears and the skeletons start to melt and vanish into the air. However, Gobro turns his replicants into slime and covers the skeletons with it to keep them fighting. Seeing the soldiers' number reduced, he asks the skeleton to go help others while he continues to fight the rest. Elsewhere in the woods, 2 soldiers escort a brave to the battlefield. He asks them, can't you handle this on your own? One soldier replies, we are not as strong as you are. From above, the brave watches as Gobro pulls water and blood together into a ball and throws at the soldiers. Then he sees an animal and eats it while eating. The brave walks up to him, saying, sorry, I disturb your meal, how about we fight next? Gobro asks, are you one of the braves? He replies excitedly, wow, I must be super famous for you to know. After chatting for a while, his eyes change into compound eyes, creating multiple copies of Gobro. Gobro says, those your eyes must be a blessing from god of demonic insect. Surprised he knew, he asks, are you the one who has been wiping out our soldiers? Tension rises around him. Then he asks Gobro again, do you have a divine blessing too? But still he didn't respond. Then he brings out bugs mixed with his power and pours them on the dead soldiers. Surprisingly, they resurrect and begin to move. Gobro feels the bugs are some kind of parasitic biological weapon while he boasts, saying, you see, I am a brave. He replies, I know about your power. He replies, yes, we brave can do what we want with hundreds of bodies at a time. Then he transforms the corpse into undead insect legions, and they charge at Gobro at once, trying to devour him, but he flings one of them and smashes others with his axe. The brave is impressed, dead. Then he begins to control the insect's attack himself, and he's amazed how Gobro managed to survive that long. After he summons a disaster insect that shakes the whole place, Gobro finds it really strange. Then he hangs him with his hook and hits him on a rock. The brave jumps with joy, calling it his best pet. As Gobro struggles with his wounded hand, the brave says his pet's venom can kill by paralyzing the organs. He adds, I'm impressed even. You're still alive. Gobro's axe falls out of his hand, and Gobmy senses that he's in trouble, but continues fighting. The insect moves closer to the brave. Then he pats him, saying, nice job finishing the ogre. Now you can go. Next, he thinks of finding out what blessing Gobro possesses while he calls out for help to carry him. The mighty Gobro resurrects in full force and attack the brave, but he manages to dodge it, smiling. He asks, how the heck do you survive all that? Gobro replies, I can't tell you. The brave decides to use his first secret weapon, but before then he says, let's do a bit of introduction. But Gobro says, I'm not interested. Disappointed, he comments, why are you so boring? Still, he introduces himself as Filippo. Then Gobro attacks to stop him from talking. As Gobro launches his second attack, he's surprised to see the brave turns into a half-insect legion right there. He grows into a complete insect legion, and Gobro feels he's starting to smell delicious, and the effort will be worth it. He charges at Gobro, but he smashes his tails and blows him and sends him flying in the air. He can't believe he can fight him back. He then says, you should have undergo epic awakening with your level of power. Gobro asks, what's that? He says, I won't tell you too. Gobro asks if he can put on his insect outfit too. He replies, that's impossible. Gobro uses his exoskeleton ability to transforms. Brave comments, wow, you're just full of surprises. In his superhero outfit, he flies to join him in the air. He attacks before he could reach him, but Gobro manages to knock the brave down into the woods. On the other hand, Gob strikes the ground to finish up their opponents, while Gobmi leaves to check on Gobro meanwhile. They both land on the ground. Then the brave says, I need to stop now. Gobro replies, I can't let you go. Then he takes off his outfit and run away. Gobro says, get back here, and tries to go after him. His outfit moves and charges at him, but takes it down in no time. However, the brave is gone. Gobro vows he will eat him soon. Then Gobmi appears and hugs him. She asks if he's okay, and he replies somehow. Then Gobro reveals that while fighting the brave he sent his replicant to run deep into the woods to meet the human prince. Gobro talks through the replicant, saying we like to put an end to the war. He asks him to check his armor, and he finds the elvish medicine there. Then he says to take it to the sick princess. All this while the prince didn't see the replicant, he only hears him talk. Then he leaves. Prince looks so nervous, and when the guards ask what's wrong, he tells them to send a message to the city that they found the medicine. Gobro feels making peace with them is better than an all. Gob breaks a rock to use as a defensive wall for them, while Gobro orders, move out the injured people, which they did. After, two soldiers encounter Gobro and get scared, but he tells them relax, the battle is over, and he walks away. Up next, they have a funeral for their comrades who died during the battle. Gobro set their bodies on fire to avoid the risk of them coming back as zombies. Gobkichi cries. While he bids them farewell, Gob cries too, saying rest well. Everyone looks sad except for Gobro, who didn't feel particularly sad. He only feels the need to continue living. After the burial, they return to the cave. Gobro suddenly wakes up and finds a lady beside him watching with a smile. When he asks who she is, she just answers, good morning, brother. We get to know she's Hobfu, a new hobgoblin that evolves from the experience they gained in the last battle, and also Hobji, who has healing ability after evolving into a half-saint lord. Also, he has a special ability to produce a barrier called a shell field, which is durable enough to withstand Gobro's 20 shots. Meanwhile, Hobfu loves fermented food and has turned into a ghoul eating zombies. She talks about Gobkichi's power, Hobji's cuteness, and Gobro's strength too. Then Homni, with her many eyes, appears. The sight irritates Gobro, and he says, can you close those extra eyes? She replies, sorry, I'm not used to it. Her special ability is illusion magic. With her power to see things far away and inside, she can gather information even than Gobro. Not only that, 7 weak hobgoblins also evolved into ogres. One of them vows to keep training to get stronger, while others join him, thinking they have to be stronger for the sake of their dead comrades. More kobolds join them, but their leader is missing. When a goblin asks where he is, he's shocked to see he's transformed into a warrior kobold. Gobro thinks, why does he look like a gangster who started dressing up? The kobold leader announces his true name as Suji. Then, Old Golan explains that true names are special names given to certain people. Knowing enemies can use them to place curses. Gobro wonders, who gives those names? Kobold warrior then says, I tell you my true name to prove how loyal I am to you. Walking away, he thinks of what to do with the remaining prisoners. Then he gathers them, saying you're free to go. But if you have nowhere else to go, stay with us. The prisoners object, saying, we're stronger than the goblins, yet we are treated as less here. This angers the other goblins, and soon both sides start arguing, saying they are just random people that show up from nowhere. Gobro then says you can leave if you have a problem staying. Their leader proposes we'll fight your leader. If we win, we'll take charge. When Gobro steps out, he's disappointed, thinking Gobmi was the leader. But one says, whatever, we'll still deal with him. Hearing that, Gobmi becomes furious, but Gobro says I'll fight 2 of people at once. Leader replies, you'll regret this, cocky bastard. They summon orb weapons that release fire, which shocks the goblins. Old Goblin comes saying watch closely. As they rush at Gobro, he lands a punch on them that sends them flying into a tree. He calls the next and knocks them down in no time. Another strike him from behind and he hits hard. Then, he beats his chest boasting of his strength. He declares himself the new boss. Suddenly, Gobro climbs out of the pit, smashes him so hard his neck breaks. His next opponent, a half-vampire, tells Gobmi, I'll marry you if I win. Gobmi replies, even if you beg me, I wouldn't. Gobro gets angry, making him earn extra punches, and this continues until Gobmi comes to calm him. However, Gobro gives his blood to heal the guy. The rest refuse to fight, saying, you freed us. We can't repay you with a fight. Hearing them say that makes Gobro happy. Then vampire guy begs him to give him more blood, saying your blood is the sweetest. Gobro can't believe a guy just fell for him. After kissing his hand, he gives him a round of punches to get him back to his senses. From then on, they have 50 new members training by fighting skeletons. Next, Gobro brings some kobolds to help the smith woman with her work. Old Kobold says, you're just an elemental smith, you still have a lot to learn. Smithwoman says, I don't think I like these guys. Alone in the cave, Gobro tries out the orb ability he learned from the prisoners the previous day, then uses Chaos of the Dead to summon a monster, which wouldn't listen to his orders, so he smashes it into pieces. After that, he tries adding sunlight weakness to his skills, but fails as his arm catches fire in the sunlight. Back in his room, he's surrounded by the ladies because he's mentally and physically exhausted due to the sunlight damage. Following day, they begin to renovate the cave, focusing on the hot springs so they can offer it as a service to the elves. Next, he trains with the new members using mixed abilities, and he almost drains all their energy. Later, back in his room, the smith kobolds come to give him a weapon they just created, a special warhammer, to appreciate his good works at noon. He goes into the woods alone, and his aura has grown so strong that other creatures run from him. Just then, a dryad appears and hugs him. After seducing him, he had fun with her. Back in the cave, the ladies complain about him having kiss marks again. Next day, Gobro suggests they start planting crops. Flashback reveals the dryad gave him some magical seeds. They begin tilling the land to plant them. While at it, red-haired comments, why does it look like Gobro can do anything even if it's his first time trying? Just then, the twin announces lunch is ready. Day after, some of the new members return to their homes. Brainwashed by Gobmi's evil eyes, the human army surrenders to her. She sends them as spies into the kingdom, and they discover the army has begun to withdraw. And the elf chief invites them to their banquet where they play music and dance. Then Gobro asks if inviting them was a good idea. Chief says, it's against our law to relate with outsiders, but we see you as our friend. He explains, long ago, my younger brother left the forest and has never returned. That's why I have to keep the forest safe, and that is possible because of your help, so we can wait for him to return to us safely. Someday, they cheer, and the banquet continues. Upon returning to their cave, Gob has dug up the last of the spirit stone in the treasury. Then she recalls how Carbuncle had told them they could access her master's spirit stone. As a sign of gratitude to her, Gobro eats up the last bunch of spirit stone. Then he gains more abilities. Afterwards, he does some crafting, fusing the bones of black skeleton together and adds some replicant material to prevent it from sunlight damage. Then he makes a skeleton centipede from it and tells his comrades it's like a pet, and they can use it as a vehicle. When he tells the human ladies, he will take them to their town with it, like he promised, but they think he's trying to kick them out. Finally, they completed the construction of the cave into a small empire. Those who want to go home leave. Meanwhile, Red-haired trains with Commander. Seeing she isn't her usual self, Commander asks what's wrong, and she tells him she's not willing to go back to a human town. Following that, they are able to get fruits from what they planted, and the ladies suggested they sell some in the town. Gobro feels the ladies have taught him a lot and have been a real blessing. After that, they throw a party to welcome the new members. Next morning, Gobro gathers everyone and groups them into different teams, giving orders to them to work together in cooperation. Lastly, he tells them no one should die. On the day of departure, everyone is ready. Hami is also going with them, and Hobfu and Hobji, and Hobse warns Sato not to attack humans. Gobro also instructs Gobkichi not to run off on his own. Gob adds, let everyone be careful, and so each group set out to leave. As Gobro reflects on his new life in this world, he admits he's met amazing, creative people. Thereafter, they set out in the centipede toward the city of Triant. A few days later, they arrive in the city. The sight of Gobro makes the people afraid, which makes him and his comrades worried. The human comrade explains the situation to the citizens, and they manage to finally reach their lodgings. The ladies listen as Gobro tells them to decide if they'll stay in the city or return to the cave with him. But honestly, he doesn't want them to go. After that, Red-haired shows him the guild. They gathered. Gobro is attacked many times. At the guild, the receptionist is too scared to attend to them, but an old man steps in and says they need to register as adventurers. Back in their lodge, Gobro decides to look at how he did in his past life, so he disguises as a guy and walks through town, which shocks others, and Leader wonders if he's really an ogre. Walking around town, he heard rumors about them calling him Tattooed Ogre over the place. He visits a cafe to eat. After he leaves, some gangsters try to attack him, but he manages to take them down and gains their abilities. He sees they've got rings of the same design and wonders if they work for an organization. He overhears a knight arguing with some of them, while they tell him he can't have his hostage except he pays 3 times the amount he paid before. Meanwhile, the hostage is a princess ready to attack. The knight shouts, "Release the princess now." As a gangster tries to stab him, Gobro blocks it and knocks them down, and infects them with his replicant to know their hideout. When he asks why he didn't kill the gangsters, Gobro knocks his head and says, "Don't lecture your savior." Gobro gives him a card to communicate with him, and suddenly he turns into his original self. The boy asks, "Who are you?" He answers, "Just a mercenary." That night, while in Gobro's lodge, the knight explains that the princess had secretly been living in town. After slipping away from her guards, she was kidnapped by the gangster. Gobro assures him he knows where to find them. Their hideout is in the outskirts of the city. The guys are suddenly attacked from inside. Later we see the princess tied down, and Gobro and Knight enter to save her. Gobro finds a book that explains the whole thing. He warns the boy not to tell anyone about it, but rather say the princess arranged for the kidnapping, and you're forced to comply. He asks, "Can I tell the king?" Gobro uses a spell to make him comply, so he won't be punished if anyone knows about it. Hobji calls Gobro to inform him some goblins and hobgoblins are born. Gobro is happy that the next generation are born. However, he's curious what the ladies will say. In the ladies' lodge, the ladies say they are all willing to return to the cave with Gobro to continue their lives. He thanks them. Next, he visits the princess as she's awake and she talks to him with all boldness, saying, "Why are you late?" She then thanks him for saving her. When Red-Haired asks who's this girl, she replies, "I'm the princess of Stenbert Kingdom, Rubilia." Knight says she insists she wants to thank you in person. Then the princess orders Gobro to escort her to the royal capital. While she talks, Gobro admires her tone and confidence, and he wonders who she really is. She's shocked when Gobro declines the offer, saying, "You have guards with you already." She replies, "They're a bunch of boring people." In her room, Gobro tries to lecture her to be more reserved, but it has no effect. Then Knight says the offer will be rewarded with a gold plate. Hearing that the ladies say, "Accept it," Gobro, he has no choice but to accept the job and put their return home on hold. They set out to move with the centipede meanwhile. The princess left her guards behind in the city. Gobro imagines the guard will be trying to look for her, and if they find her with him, he's afraid he may be called a kidnapper. Even at that, he still goes ahead. The princess is very excited, and she asks what the name of the vehicle is. He tells her. Then they see herd of buffalo. As the buffalo moves, Gobro and Gobmi approach to attack. Gobmi frees it up. Gobro strikes. Next they feast on its meat. A horned rabbit attacks Red-Haired, but she takes it down in no time and eat it up. That amazes other ladies. A bird almost attacks the princess, but she's not afraid. Gobro carries her. Again, she almost falls off the centipede. Gobro feels fed up and beats her butt. Next they encounter a shelled turtle snake, and there are many of them, so he calls other group to help out, but they refuse. So Gobro gets them at once and orders the twin to get the sauce and liquor ready. Princess apologizes for earlier and offers to help the twins. Now, the broiled snake with sauce is ready, so everyone eats. The journey continues, and Gobro watches Princess play with a monster bird. Gobro thinks she's simply trying to enjoy the outside world for the first time. Knight plans to train, but Princess comes to disturb him again, saying, "I'll train too." The boy declines, but she insists she will need it someday. Gobro agrees and the training begins. By the end of the training, the knight learned better on his job. Princess also practices wielding her sword. At night they pass through a mountain and they discuss their route for the next day. Knight suggests they take the longer route since the short path is dangerous due to evil eagles. Gobro asks about them, and he's told they're the strongest creatures in the mountains. Smithwoman says, "With the info, we can have a safe trip." Just then, Gobro announces they are taking the eagle's route. Gobro arrives at the eagle's territory, and he hunts them down with his strings. The twin prepares their meat for breakfast. Again, the journey continues, and Gobro has an unexplainable bad feeling. He orders everyone to stay in the carriage while he confronts the eagle leader all by himself. After an hour, they are worried he's not back, but Gobmi assures them he'll be fine as he always does. Leader says, "Better. Let's figure out how we'll escape if he dies." Gobmi objects, saying, "I'm going nowhere." Everything goes silent, and when they check, they see one of Gobro's arm on the ground. Looking up, he's fighting with his weapon in his leg. Gobmi prepares to join him, and then his axe fell off, and things go unexpected for Gobro in the air. He uses his string to pull up and eat his own arm. To everyone's surprise, it regenerates, and Gobro thanks the eagle for helping with his training. He admits the eagle is strong, transforming into his superhero outfit. He ties the eagle with his string, making its body feel heavier. He strikes her down on the mountain, causing a great explosion. She dies, and Gobro lands back to meet his comrades who are already terrified by his display of power. He cut out the stone near the eagle's heart, a rare stone that appears in boss class monsters with blessing. They prepare the eagle meat, Tasting it, Gobro screams, and as usual, he gains her abilities like Feather Arrow of the Eagle. Just then, Princess comes to him and asks why he always eats any creature he eats. He is silent at first. Meanwhile, he was asked the same question in his past life, and the answer hasn't changed. He answers, I eat them because I kill them. To take on their regrets and grudges, even though it seems weird, Princess becomes quiet after that. The journey continues while the princess thinks about what he said. Around noon, they arrived at a village, but the villagers couldn't get closer to them because Gobro's appearance scares them. The villagers draw weapons to block their way, but the princess raises the royal emblem, ordering them to stop and clear the path. They obey at once, clearing the path, and they pass in between. The princess smiles proudly. They reach the village waterfall, where they see a beautiful rainbow which amazes them. The princess splashes water on Gobmi's face by accident, and Gobmi immediately chases her playfully through the water. Afterwards, they have a hot bath in the hot spring, enjoying the warmth and feeling completely refreshed. Next, they hold a welcome party with the villagers. The mayor gifts them drinks, which they mix with the elves' drinks, making the celebration fun. While at it, a man grabs Gobmi's butt, and she beats him down. Gobro eases the tension by proposing a drinking contest with 4 silver plates as the prize. The crowd cheers again. Later, everyone drinks until they pass out, except Gobro, who enjoys the fish alone, and the fish gives him new abilities. Next morning, they head towards Cluster Mountains. While the ladies have breakfast, Gobro checks on them and sees the twins are not looking well. When he asks why, they explain they are tired from cooking for the whole village during the party. Gobro says, fine, I'll handle dinner today. You two rest. They thank him, but he doesn't realize he's overlooking something important. As they move, the twins' condition worsens, their stomachs growing larger. Everyone is confused, but Gobro suddenly realizes they are pregnant with his children. They stop the centipede, while Gobro communicates with Old Goblin about it. He tells him ogre children steal nutrition from their mothers and are born quickly. True to his word, the twins begin to feel drained as their stomachs grow larger. They start to move so fast to get a place to make the delivery. The princess feels useless at this time, so she stay put. While the two struggle to hold on to their energy, Gobro looks worried, but they assure him they'll be fine and have his babies soon. Gobro replies, yes, they'll be our kids. As the journey continues, alchemists see their arms are now skinnier than before, and they're growing weaker, that even her potions can't revive them. When she says they need incredibly nutrient-dense regularly, Gobro cuts off his arm and says, eat my flesh to keep your strength. The twin says, no, we can't do that. We don't want you to suffer. Gobmi says, please do as he says. He'll grow back another arm. Yet they insist not to eat it, seeing that Gobro eats up his own flesh and puts it into their mouth directly from his by force, until it sinks into their stomach. Then he says, I can't lose you two or the children. Then he does the same for the second twin. Their journey continues until they find a cave, where a few bears are already living inside. In a rush they take them down, and he uses Arrow Master and his replicants to create beds for the twins. Gobro uses his ability to suppress the pain, and he did that standing for a long time. Just then, the pain grows into groaning as the older twin baby grow into maturity. Meanwhile, Hobji is monitoring the babies inside them. After Gobro puts her into unconsciousness, he prepares to operate, forming a scalpel from his magic. For the first time in a while, he feels nervous. Afterwards, it rains, and we see the babies have been born. A girl and a boy. Gobro heals their wounds with his blood and abilities. Though shocked by what just happened, he feels deeply relieved and grateful they are alive. Princess carries the baby nervously as he's asleep. Then Old Goblin calls in saying his babies might be mixed blood ogres, as each has one horn. Then he adds people might hate and fear them for being different. As Gobro listens, he continues that it is as a result of him mating with human women, and the babies might grow up with the strengths of both ogre and human, which can make both races hate them and treat them as monsters. Sensing he wants him to get rid of them, he says, no, I will not abandon my kids. Old Goblin tries to convince him, but Hobji stops him. Gobro listens as Hobji says, don't worry about it. Let's just do what is necessary now that they are born. Gobro then sees that the babies are born with orbs, so he names the baby girl Oro, and his son Argento based on the color of their orbs. He then thanks the twin for staying alive even though it wasn't easy. He promises to treat them as an important part of his family, which they agree to. Following day, as snow falls, Gobro set out to do some hunting to gain new abilities. Then he runs into a white giant deer with antlers. Even with all his abilities, Gobro senses his chances of winning is low, as the deer looks so powerful. Despite that, he still plans to attack him, as he transforms into his superhero outfit. Yet the deer only stares at him calmly, making no move to strike. Then he shakes his head as his antlers fall off. He runs away, flying over Gobro's head while he picks up the antlers, believing they will also have some kind of ability as he's about to eat. Then he remembers his babies and says, I should share this with them. So he stores it in his magic box and continues the journey. He stumbles upon a mixed force of humans and beastmen fighting, so he stops to watch. However, the human force is so strong as they take down the beastmen so quickly. Seeing they've taken down all his comrades, the beastmen leader in anger casts a spell against the human leader, but he pierces through the spell with magic and chops off his head, his arms and legs. Turns out it is Gobro who attacks the beastman leader, though the spell is so powerful, but he defeated him, so he can fight the humans. Now Gobro faces the human force leader. Then he suddenly realizes the human might have beaten the beastman leader without his help. Seeing how powerful the human force leader is, Gobro chooses not to fight. Instead, he praises the leader's hard work and requests the corpse of the beastman leader, and promises to treat his wounds in exchange. Human force leader agrees and appreciates his help. Gobro keeps the dead body in his magic box. As he leaves, leader says he hasn't seen anything like him before. He adds, when I faced him early, I realized he hasn't even reached his epic yet, and I couldn't move against him. His ally asks, are you that hurt? He replies, no, I'm fine, at least for now. He thinks they would all be dead if he had fought Gobro. As the sun set, Gobro on his way back to the cave. As he arrives in the cave, we see the babies have grown bigger. They rush toward him calling out, Papa, Papa. He then prepares the deer antlers into a meal, feeding the babies, and their strength increases. He and Red-Haired try out some too, and he gains a new bunch of abilities that he couldn't identify, while Red-Haired gets a new job too, Scared Beast Eater, which makes him realize the white deer isn't a creature he can fight with his present abilities. At night, while everyone is asleep, Gobro couldn't sleep as he's worried. He didn't understand his new abilities. Then his system shows he can now evolve into an Apostle Lord, and he agrees to. He is given a true name and unique abilities. Sadly, an error occurs as the requirements to unlock 2 of the 5 special abilities have not been met, but his subordinates have been selected as 8 demon generals. Next morning, as they travel through the mountains, the alchemist and smithwoman's stomachs begin to swell too. They realize they're pregnant with Gobro's babies too. Gobro says he'll stop the centipede near water, and the princess adds, please, hold on strong. They finally find a place, and in no time, the 2 ladies have given birth, and they are so excited. Gobro also happily welcomes the kids into his family. Gobro names Alchemist's daughter, a full human, Nicola, and the smithwoman's son, a full ogre, Onikawa, with Onikawa nearly twice Nicola's size. Since the 2 new mothers are fine, they continue their journey in the centipede. Next morning they arrive in a city. The princess disguises herself as a city lady and asks, how do I look? Her knight replies, lovely. She dresses this way to keep her identity hidden. Then, Gobro says the mothers will relax at the inn, while the rest will head to the Adventurer Guild to gather information, and everyone agrees. At the Adventurers Guild, Red-Haired tells Gobro they have a free training area for them to use. Right there, some adventurers challenge him to a spar. Gobro considers fighting them all but thinks it won't be fun. Instead, he says, fight my comrades, win, and I'll reward you with 5 silver plates. The adventurers feel excited as the fight begins. Gobmi watches, wishing as he could join but afraid she can't hold back. In the end, his comrades win, and one comrade begins to cry as he couldn't believe they've gotten really that strong, and the rest consoles him. Afterwards, they go for shopping where Gobro sees Faye a camera. The seller tells him it's a magic item. He decides to buy it as he knows it in his past life. When he gets back home, he takes plenty of pictures of his kids. At night, Gobro thinks they should arrive at their destination in a few days. Then he realizes Gobro reaches out to Sato's group first. She reports everything is going smoothly, and mentions Hobsei has been buying many books on magic. Hobsei tells him they use the elves considered valuable as bait to lure and take down bandits and kidnappers. Hob group reports they have been traveling around gathering information, but the last group with no leader reports they've been getting into fights every time, since many new members are upset about being ranked below goblins. Then he says, let's put things right by appointing a leader, and he chooses the white-haired lady as their leader, which shocks them. With that, the call ends. He decides to check Gobkichi's group through the magic earring, but he sees himself dead. He feels troubled at that point. Gobmi wakes and asks what's wrong. Then he answers, I was dead. She feels scared. In the morning, as the princess arrives, he tells her he wants to go see his people at the Maze City as something happens that he needs to attend to. His comrades try to convince him not to go, but he insists on going. Seeing his determination, Princess asks how long to reach the city. Knight replies 2 days. The princess approves the plan to head there first, then announces they're going to the maze city. Gobro appreciates her, and she smiles. They set off in the centipede, hoping to reach Maze City the next day. Gobro's kids call out Papa Papa. Onikawa has begun crawling, while Nicola hasn't yet. Her mother explains it's because she's human. Gobmi on the other hand looks sad, staring at a necklace. As Gobro moves close to her, a flashback shows him gifting her the necklace when they were still goblins. Back to present. She says a lot has happened since you gave it to me. Gobro listens as she says even though a lot changes I am still a vampire with tears in her eyes. She adds I love you the most, but I still haven't given you a child yet. Gobro consoles her saying, you're my everything already, children or not, nothing will ever change that. Gobmi feels touched but not convinced. Next day, in the afternoon, they arrive in the maze city. Gobro and others arrive at the dungeon where the group is. Then two adventurers comes out panicking and they tell Gobro a minotaur is inside. He goes in to see the dungeon master who tells him he has been killed because of the danger he posed some moments ago. Gobro is shocked. They return to the entrance of the dungeon, only to see Gobkichi and Gob coming out as a full giant that he has to look up to see him. Then he says Gobro, why do you look shorter? He replies, you're the one who grow bigger. Gob has also grown into a giant woman. Gobro then asks how Gobkichi kills him. Then he reveals that Gob tells him about a rare monster called Mind Mirror that appears in the dungeon. The monster can take the form of the strongest person its opponent thinks of. When Gobkichi thought of Gobro, it appeared as him. Gobkichi fought it, and in the end, Gobro killed him. Fortunately, Gobro's fate revived him back to life, and after that he becomes bigger as he obtains the blessing of the lightning god. So, he's able to defeat the reflected Gobro, which was the moment Gobro sees before. As a result, Gobkichi evolves into a minotaur, while Gob becomes an Earth Lord variant. Gobro feels relieved hearing the story, and proposes they spend the night together, but Gobkichi says, let me spar with you first. People gather around them as the fight is about to begin. Princess asks, but the two are friends. Why are they fighting? Gobmi agrees, saying that's why Gobkichi seeks strength to stand beside him as friend. Gobro then tells Gobkichi he looks stronger than the last time they fought, and his axe and shield look bigger and stronger. Gobkichi replies that he fought strong enemies in the city, so he can one day beat Gobro and stand as his equal. Gobro looks confused, but Gobkichi explains he wants to be Gobro's equal so they can be true friends. Gobro smiles and says, wow, I love that energy. Gobkichi rushes forward. Their weapons clash with intense sparks of fire. Gobro feels the weight of his axe, but Gobkichi charges at him so fast. Gobro dodges, and his axe hit the ground, causing explosion and powerful breeze that sends Gobro flying into the air. With his blessing, Gobkichi can now wield both fire and lightning. As Gobkichi charges at him, Gobro compliment him saying you are amazing, let's do this. As their weapon clashes, Gobro casts spell to attack Gobkichi with stones and water, but he uses his shield to fight them. A phantom appears on his shield. As he attacks Gobro, Gobro attacks with all his ultimate ability. Gobro unleashes the dance of 1,000 spears, striking Gobkichi again and again while adding his special abilities to each blow. Now Gobkichi is pushed to the limit, but suddenly he vanishes and reappears right behind Gobro. Gobro quickly casts a spell, sending sharp stones flying at Gobkichi, but Gobkichi jumps on his shield like a board and skillfully dodges them all. Gobkichi unleashes a beam of fire, shaking the entire area. Gobro tries to stop him, but the storm of lightning and wind grows so intense that their comrades can barely withstand it. Gobmi looks scared. Suddenly, the lightning stops as Gobro has to control the fire so their comrades won't be hurt. He becomes angry at Gobkichi for recklessly unleashing such power without considering everyone's safety. Gobro decides it's time to calm his ass down and counters his power with Black Demon's charge, striking Gobkichi head-on. In that moment, Gobro recalls the very first time he hit Gobkichi back when they were young goblins. Next morning, as the journey continues, Princess sits on Gobro's shoulder showing him around the city. Gobro says, finally, we're in the royal capital. Gobmi and the others look out, amazed by the city's beauty. Gobro then recalls how he and Gobkichi fought intensely the previous day. As they enter the capital, they see paved roads, indoor plumbing, and people living in comfort. The princess proudly says her capital has grown and prospered. Gobro says I see. She then takes his hand and says now, let's go to the castle. At the castle, they are amazed how big it is. The red-haired girl asks if the royal family lives there. Knight replies, this is where the princess lives. Gobmi says, this is nothing like our cave. The princess turns to Gobro and says, my good Gobro, I will reward you for your protection. But first, you all should rest tonight in my palace. In the princess's palace, They ate until their stomachs were ready to burst. But at night, the ladies found it hard to sleep because the beds were too comfortable. But the kids are enjoying their sleep. Next morning, Gobro wakes up feeling so good. After they gather to see the princess, who gives him a note of endorsement, in addition to their pay. Seeing that it will give him free access to the royal capital anytime, he says, "I'm just someone you barely know. How sure are you? I won't misuse it." She answers, "You've been good to me all this while we travel, and you are very hard-working. You also weigh risk and reward before acting, so you wouldn't do anything reckless, which could harm our country." While she talks, Gobro thinks, so she's been sizing me up this whole time. Then she says, "I'll need your help again, so come back soon." Her little plan to see him again impressed him. Later, the knight sees them off as they leave and he says, "Guards didn't let the princess out." Gobro said, "I understand. Just keep training, kid." Red-haired adds, "We'll spar again next time." Knight waves at them as they leave. Meanwhile, Gobro leaves behind his replicants all over the royal capital, hoping to be back there someday as they head back home. 2 days after leaving the royal capital, the journey goes smoothly, except for Gobmi, who worries she isn't growing. Gobro asks what level she is as a vampire variant. She answers 89. Gobro then says, "As long as I keep getting stronger, I won't abandon any of you." Gobmi feels touched and he adds, "Don't worry, I will help you train." Gobmi remembers the necklace and holds on to it. Then she says, "Yes, I would love to train with you." Suddenly, Gobro stops the centipede. He wants Gobmi to train, so he summons strong giants with a spell. She trains hard, and with that energy, she defeats many giants in a single strike. Later, Gobmi defeats nearly 35 giants, but she feels completely exhausted afterward. Gobro praises her effort and says that's enough for today. Unexpectedly, she faints, and as Gobro carries her to their camp, he feels drowsy too. Alchemist joins them and explains that he feels drowsy because he has used up his mana, and he's lucky that didn't happen during a real combat. After that, the twins announce dinner is ready. That night, while they are asleep, Gobmi's system shows she has evolved. Next morning, while Gobro is still asleep, Gobmi wakes him saying, "Thanks to you, I've been reborn into a vampire noble variant." Moving close to Gobro in a kissing position, and says, "Now I have a true name, Hekaterina, and I'm officially your wife." After saying that, suddenly, she bursts into laughter, saying, "I need to act classy now that I'm a vampire noble." As Gobro hugs her and says, "I'm glad you're able to laugh again," she blushes. Next day, they finally return to their home cave in the forest. Meanwhile, the trip took them a month and Gobro says he misses their dark, cool cave. However, things turn out differently. On getting there, they are amazed as the cave has turned into a small paradise. Gobro says, "Well, this is no longer the cave we used to know." Just then, Gobkichi, Gobsato, and Hobse step out, saying, "We just decided to make a few changes to surprise you." And Hobfu reveals Gobkichi and Gob did most of the hard work, but Gob says it was a team effort. Then they show Gobro around. First the farm, and another surprise as he gets to know that Dryad Lady has moved into the compound and has ranked working in the farm. As he carries her, she says, "I now have a true name." Next they take him to the ranch where the tamed animals are kept, then to the residential block. He also notices some cat-like creatures have joined them. Though they are not skilled in fighting, but they are good with their hands. They become Gobmi's pets, and she enjoys their soft fur. Suddenly, Hobji runs in, panicking, and reports that the old goblin has been hospitalized. In the room, old goblin lies on the bed sleeping. As Gobro greets him, he sits up and starts coughing. While Hobji calms him, Gobro, seeing that he did not have much time left, decides to introduce his kids to him. Old Goblin feels happy seeing them. Then he says, "So that gentle little Gobro I held in my arms some times ago, now has his own kids." Gobro replies, "That's not true." Old Gobro begins to laugh. Then he continues, "Now that I am an apostle lord, I'll like to be called a Poro." He also changes Gobmi and Gob's names, and Gobkichi, now a Minotaur, should be called Minokichi. Old Goblin comments, "How do you come up with great names like that?" Yet he still finds it unbelievable that little Gobro is now an apostle lord. He recalls the days when Gobro and the others were still babies. Then he closes his eyes. His last words are, "Well, my life wasn't bad." With that, he dies. Gobro realizes this and says, "Rest easy now, old Goblin." Afterwards, they cremate him with everyone present. Seeing everyone look sad, Goblin cheers them up by saying, "Let's send this old guy off the way. Only we can." They wonder how, and then he announces they'll be having a fighting tournament to test what everyone learned during the trip. His kids also say Dad will like to join. At the training ground, Gobro sets the rules. We'll fight barehanded, and stop when someone surrenders, and no killing. At the end, whoever wins gets a promotion. The first match is between the human commander and the red-haired warrior, and then Gobmi faces Hobsei, warning her not to approach her like before. They cast spells and counter each other's moves. Meanwhile, Gob and Sato also faces each other, and Sato says, "Let's see how fun it is to fight bare-handed." Hobmi faces Prisoner, leader who fights with no hesitation. White-haired faces Hobfu, who dodges each strike like a black witch. And finally, the giant Gobkichi faces his true opponent, Gobro, as the human ladies and elves watch. Gobro gets ready while Gobkichi says, "All thanks to you, I've become this stronger." Gobro responds, "Same here," recalling their young days. He says, "And now we've come this far." Gobkichi then says, "I'm going to win this fight so I can become stronger than you." Gobro smiles, saying, "I love that spirit." They charge at each other like a lion and an elephant. When their blows clash, there is massive lightning and explosion. At the end, Gobro and Gobkichi lie down tired. The result reveals, Gobro comes first, Gobkichi second, Gobmi third, Gob fourth, Sato fifth, Hobsei sixth. Other results are announced, and they rank just as their power. The heads of each group are now upper ranks. Afterwards, they hold a party while Gobro's kids cry, saying everyone is so strong. Gobro feels fulfilled seeing each of his comrades has grown so strong. Early next morning, Princess calls him through the endorsement note, saying she'll like to secure his service. Gobro is reluctant at first to accept the offer, thinking it might lead his comrades into trouble. Then Princess reveals she wants to make their presence known throughout the kingdom. Gobro sees that as a big offer, and then he accepts it. He summons his comrades all dressed in the Parabellum team uniform, and he announces they will be heading to the royal capital. They cheer up, and Gobro looks forward to receiving the big offer. That's all for today. If you like this anime, make sure to comment why and help us reach 1,000 likes. That way, we'll know you really want the next part.